How much is coming out? Wait, what's the policy? Oh, it only lasts for 15 years? So think about what we do. Okay, just think about it. Okay, look, this business beats working any day of the week. Okay, but it's still hard work. You still gotta work really hard here. Okay, if you're not a hard worker, this ain't the business for you. Okay, you like relaxing and doing and if you want all that stuff before, no. It's not gonna happen for you. You gotta work. Okay? You gotta freaking put your time in. You know, these basketball players, they shoot 1,000 shots a day. That's what you gotta do. Okay, that's what you gotta do, and you gotta like it too. You gotta enjoy it because it's the only way to do it. You have a frown while you're doing it, you're in trouble. You gotta love freaking doing it. But when you get somebody, so finally I get a recruit, okay? And all the people that should have said yes to me, finally I got one. And this recruit does something. They take me to see somebody. And we go out on the appointment and, you know, just the luck of the draw, he lives in Upper Marlboro. Okay? And I live in Winchester. I'm just like, all right, well, fine, it's my recruit. I got to do what I got to do. And we go out, and Josh takes me to see a coworker of his. With them, I do the presentation, I present, I get the need. They give me the bank account, they give me the routing information, they give me a couple referrals, and then I don't lock the sale in. I don't tighten up. I don't zip it up. I worked so hard to get that client. So hard. And I just fumbled the ball at the goal line. No, you got to be smart. Look, I mean, you know, my job is to teach you how to be extremely intelligent about this business. Extreme, like I call it competitive intelligence, right? Like you just got to be really good and smart and intelligent and analytical, all those things, right? So, you know, I was talking to Rod and talking to some other people about what they do, and then also I also buy stuff, right? Like I have a mortgage, I've got a title company. You got all these people, they send you packages, you buy a house. I look at what other people do. Then I try to be extremely well prepared. I see what the competition's doing. New York Life, MetLife, Edward Jones. And so they always, like, when you ever notice, like you find somebody and then they have like a packet of stuff. Hey, go get your policy. They have their policy, but they got a lot of other stuff. They have an instructional letter. They have customer service letter. They have this, that. They have the business card. They have brochures. They have all these things. What do they have from you? They don't even have your number. Some of you guys are that stupid. Look, this is the Friday. I don't have to be nice, okay? You're acting dumb, I'm going to tell you, right? That's not smart. You're not going to build a great business like that. So here are a couple of the pieces, okay? This is why now is a great time to invest. Obviously, we sell term, but term is not invest, right? You got to talk to them about, you know, some of you guys, right? Like, you're not doing well. You don't want to introduce people that are doing well because you think it'll make you look bad. Some of you guys don't have your investment license, so you don't want to ever talk to them about becoming financially independent. That's wrong for the client. Wrong for the client, man. Right? You got to talk to them about it. Even if you can't do it, set your trainer up, set somebody else up that's investment licensed. Give them a referral. Do the right thing for the client. Right? So this is just get them reading about it. No one wants to talk and 100% solely focus on insurance, right? Insurance is the foundation. It's the beginning. Okay, it's the most important thing, but it's not the only thing. All right. Your Primerica term coverage has the most valuable options and benefits in the industry. And I would highlight a couple things, right? 94% of claims are paid within 14 days. It's one thing if you say it, it's another thing that's in literature written. Okay. An average of $3.8 million in benefit claims paid every day. In 2018, over $1.4 billion in claims paid. Think about that. We paid $1.4 billion in claims. Rated A+ superior. You know, we have continuation. You can keep your policy, decreasing term, custom exchange, all right here, right? And you're explaining it. Living benefits, the terminal illness benefit, right? It's right there. It's written out. Increasing benefit rider, child rider benefits. And then you can look at entire family coverage, one policy fee, all that stuff, right? Who could ben, and then it talks about the FNA and all that stuff, okay? And we have the Primerica fact sheet, which is some of the same stuff, right? But it talks about some of the companies we partner with, just more credibility, right? This is the credibility sheet, some of the awards we've received. And then, you know, this could give you different concepts on Primerica. There's no other company by Primerica.
Which one is that?
There is no other company like Primerica. All right. So I have the folders in the back. They're given to Alex. Okay. I've only made like 20 of them. Getting $2 a pop. Okay. What?
Is that much it is?
Yeah. Is that a lot for you? What are you giving them now? Yeah. I'm sure you did. What are you giving?
Privacy.
Yeah. That's a brochure. The privacy knows a brochure.
Something else.
Go ahead. I'm listening. Huh? Privacy brochure.
Privacy notice, brochure.
What brochure? Yeah. What I have. I'm trying to help you, right? I'm not like, I don't need to do it. I do it. Okay? I have great service. Right? I don't know what I have, 90% personal QBI, and I still wrote, I don't know, 10 grand of premium last year. So I still write clients. And if I go out, you know I close clients. So you need to get smart, right? You need to run a real business. You know, my realtor, he gave me, I don't know, like $500. I'm not saying to do that, okay? I'm not like, you're just not in that position, neither am I. I wouldn't do that, okay? But I don't know what he gave me. You know, they have like the brokerage of the real estate agency, they have a beach house, like they all bought it together. I think they all use it, right? Like they reserve it, but certain clients, they get it for like a day. It's just at Ocean City. It was a nice gesture. I never used it, right? But they gave me like $100 gift card at Morton's and all these things. It added up probably to $400 or $500, right? Now, this was not for my big house that I just bought. This is my first house, which is a pretty normal house. It's $650,000, $660,000. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't like $1 million. I mean, it's something. Okay, I know I'm not scoffing at it. I know it's something. My first house is what I bought. But my neighborhood was a lot of people in that, right? Like now I have a home. I understand, right? Now it's a little bit more of an exclusive neighborhood. But you better provide great service, or else guess what you're doing? You're working really hard and your clients are leaving out the back door. Congratulations. You are running a bad business. Right? You're not explaining stuff to them. You're not going through stuff. And like I said, I don't want this. I don't want any ambiguity here. Okay? I just want you to understand, right? You can do it on your own. You can put the folders together. You can order the stuff. You can pay for shipping. You ain't never going to do it. That's why you ain't doing it, right? So I made them. I'm upset that I actually had to make them. I sat there with my kids and I did this. I was like, man, I'm going to make them see if people actually start using them. Rod, you do it, right? How much you pay for you? And he has Rod has a whole booklet. Right? I mean, I was like, oh, Rod, I don't know. I don't want to order all this stuff, but I think it's good. I think you should keep doing what you. I was like, Rod has a whole Primerica folder. How much is the folder alone?
15 cents.
No, just the white folder. Not the brochure. The white folder. What are those? Yeah, they got just the folder's $1. I was like, oh, you know what? I'll get the American Funds folder. It's free. for his veterans. Right? Rod's thing. Yeah. You know, he's got the whole Primerica floor. This thing is heavy. He's got all these things. He's got his business card, How Money Works. This is the How Money Works book. That's like 50 cents. No, I'm not saying, look, we'll start with this. We'll see where we go. But you know, you're getting $300, $400, $500 a client. Get a client. Get a client. All right. Anyways. All right, let's get started. All right, let's see the brochure. If it says brochure, don't mean it's a brochure. All right. That might work with her. Yeah, you bet your eyelashes. That ain't gonna work with me. It ain't my daughter, man. It ain't my daughter. Right.
I ain't asked to look like this.
Huh?
I ain't asked to look like this.
Oh
Right. I mean, right. This is a serious topic, right? Right. You know what you're doing with your clients. You know where you are. Grade yourself A to F. You know where you are, right? You know where you are. Not many A's in here. Not many B's in here. C's and D's. What happens with D's? You don't go to the next grade. That's the way it works here. Okay? So I'm just trying to get you thinking right. I want to get you smart. Okay? Because you got to be really good, very professional. You can come in like, you don't have to like think about what we're going up against. Just think about it. You're going up against people, they have degrees. Not that I'm not saying it's anything. I don't think it's anything. Okay? But they have that. You might be intimidated by that. They come in, they have a company, they're backing, and they sell their company. Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, all these companies, New York Life, Metro, and their companies have commercials on TV. They're coming in a BMW. Not that I care about that. You walk. You took a lift. You couldn't even do Uber. You do Lyft. You Uber pulled it. You got 3 other people in it. What time will you be here, Donald? Well, the Uber pool, they just picked up somebody. We're dropping them off at Quantico. And, be in Dumfries in 10 minutes. Sorry.
Oh my God.
And then they got their brochures, they got all these things. But you gotta just be good. Because you know what we have on our side? Not we have right on our side. We have the truth on our side. But you should gotta be intelligent, man. Because if it was all about your intention and your heart, we'd keep all our clients. But we're not. Okay? So just be smart about it. Be intelligent. Okay? And provide great service. Because people are still gonna change their mind. Okay? Even if you're good, and I just want everybody to understand this, even if you're good, you're only going to keep 4 out of 5 policies. Okay, if you're good, okay, because one's going to get declined, one's going to get rated. One might have a life change. Now, I don't like that. Okay, I think that you can do more, but if you write a lot of business, you're going to keep 4 out of 5. So you're going to lose 1 out of 5. If you're starting to lose 2 or 3 out of 5, you're in trouble, right? Like the NFL playoffs are coming, right? Not coming. I mean, the Super Bowl's coming, and we're at the last 4 teams, right? Do you know there's only 32 teams, right? There's only 32 starting quarterbacks. The difference between a quarterback that makes $100 million a year and one that is a backup or getting cut in terms of completion percentage and passing might be like 72 to 65%, right? They look at Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, they complete 74, 75%. A backup, 65%. Right? Am I right? You know the numbers a lot better than I do, but I mean, it's not going to be like that crazy. That's what it is here, man. You got to keep every freaking dollar you make, if possible. Okay? So, let's talk about asking questions. You don't need answers. You need questions. Always remember that. You don't need And I feel like, that was one of the biggest things I learned here was, I thought sales was being overzealous, talking, no product knowledge, but really what it was asking the right questions and being a question-oriented person, right? And you can make statements through questions. You can get people thinking through questions. You can get people committed through questions. You can get, people decisive through questions. You can call people on their BS through questions. You can train people through questions. Ask better questions, get better answers, get better results. Okay. I actually made this on PowerPoint, but for some reason, not PowerPoint, but on, we were going to do it on PowerPoint. I'll send this to Tom. Sorry, sent it. For some reason, it didn't come through. So I have it all typed out for you and everything. We'll get these on slides. Okay. So there's a right way and a wrong way to ask questions. Okay. And I want to give you, some, I think I do it pretty well in this business, but then there's other ways you can do it that are offensive, they belittle, they demean, they're unfortunately, right, I learned this as being a parent, right? What do you mean you didn't use the toilet? Right? Why would you do that? That question. Right? What? You didn't close? Good question. Right? You can ask it differently. What? Again? That question. Right? These are people skill issues, and I have a long way to go. Okay? In Primerica, I think the context of Primerica and training and selling, yeah, I'm pretty good. Okay? But there's a whole different world out there, right, where, these things apply. And I know I'm bad. And I have to get better, right? And questions, I'm telling you, it's so important in people skills. It really is. It's not just selling and Tom Hopkins, that stuff is very important, but there's really, really an art of it. Okay. So number one, okay, these are the types of questions that you ask. Number one, there's questions asked because the answer is important. Okay, number two, there are questions asked because the question is important. Okay? I think I do that a lot, right? And I can see it in your face when I ask you a question, you're confused, right? Because you're like, what's he asking me? Right? Because I want to improve your analytical skills. I want you to think a little bit. I want you to be quick on your feet. That's why I ask these questions, right? That's why I ask them the way I do, right? Can you pay attention? Can you do two things? Can you follow through the thing? Because it's not as difficult. It's a fun business. It's a fun business, but you still got to be good at it. And it's better when you're good. It's more fun when you're getting results and you're making money, right? So then there is the third question. The questions are asked because the process of asking is important. Okay, so number one, in questions asked because the answer is important, the answer is actually more important than the question. Okay, you're asking the question and the answer is that important. Do you feel overinsured, underinsured, not sure? The answer is very important there. That's a very important question. It's not about the question, it's about the answer. What do they feel? Something happened to you. Is your family better, worse? Say the same. The answer is very important in the question. Okay. Number two, the question is more important than the answer. So you want them to think actually about the question that what would happen? What would happen if you die prematurely? What would happen to this house? The question is more important. Because now you're creating the doubt. Now they have to think. Now they have to be analytical. Number three, right? The questions are asked the series of questions that you're asking may get the client to come to a different conclusion. They might start thinking differently than they originally thought. And therefore, they'll come to the right conclusion. And your series of questions may not be in succession. They might be throughout your presentation. That's why the questions are so important that you ask. Because they might not be one after another. It might be, okay, like we've done. We stack the deck. We load them up, right? I know Donald, he says he plays chess, where I play chess too. Sometimes you're making a move, and you're going to come back to that 8, 10, 12 moves later. And so we might say, okay, do you waste money? Are you underinsured? If something happened to you and you're logging all the information and you're asking a series of questions, because then they think I'm good, but then they realize I'm not good. I can't count on my group. I don't have any money saved. If something happened, my family wouldn't be this way. We only have $10,000. That's true. We spend $5,000 a month. That would last 2 or 3 months, and they have not thought about it. And so when you start asking and building upon, they start thinking, and then, wow, they thought differently. You have not made them think differently. They came to that conclusion by the questions you asked. So there's a process of asking questions. Okay. So here are some tips on asking questions. Number 1, most of the time, be direct. Okay. Most of the time, you have to be direct when asking a question. Number 2, sometimes be indirect. Okay, sometimes, which is a small percentage, you're going to be a little indirect. You guys know on the appointment setting question, right? That's where you're going to be a little bit more indirect. Therese, while I have you on the phone, could you possibly, if it's okay, could we tentatively? Sometimes it's Therese. Is protecting your family important enough that you set aside money every month to take care of this? That's a direct question. Is protecting your family important enough that you would set aside money every month? What are we talking about here? It's just your life. It's just your kids. It's just your wife. It's just everything you've worked hard for. We're going to say it like that, but we say that in a direct question. Is retirement enough? Is retirement important enough that you'll commit to setting aside money every month? You're going to ask a question. It could be a recruiting question. Hey, when we're doing something, I'm working on people with a couple people. Hey, can you commit to training? Is there anything that you can't do on Saturday? Can you show up? That's a direct question. Make eye contact. Okay, and this is very important. I want you to write this down. Making eye contact is not staring. I'm serious. You don't stare at people. Make eye contact. Like generally what I do, Ruby, okay, because I do sometimes look away. Because I want them, I'll make it at the beginning and at the end. That's what I do. I'll say, Ruby, I'll ask a question, I'll look away, and I look back. Because I know if I stare at them, it's just like I don't know why I feel like this. Maybe it's the overconfidence, but I feel like I do intimidate people a little bit. Yeah. I just feel like that. Okay, I don't know. Okay, maybe I don't. Maybe I do. It doesn't work with my kids. They intimidate. But sometimes I feel like that. Okay, or maybe I'm awkward about it. Okay, I don't know. So I don't want to stare at you. That's awkward. Okay, I don't like staring at people. Right? I do it. I know I do it. But if you're asking a question and you make eye contact, and then here's part B of this. Make eye contact with the right person. Okay? When you're talking about insurance, you look that husband right in the freaking face, man. And I'm saying that not in a mean or nasty way. I'm talking in a direct way. You know who to ask. And you look at him right, hey, no. I'm saying this is internal dialogue. You're not having this externally. If you feel like, Jen, yeah, we'll get it. No. Josh, and then you ask, because that's the one. Okay, 99.9% of the time, that's the one where you got to get the commitment from. Oh, I got the commitment. Did you get it? Well, she said, I don't care about what she said. In that question, it's what he said. Now, I'm not saying, because they're the ones going to talk everybody out of it, right or wrong. So you not only do you have to make direct eye contact, okay, without staring, but you also have to ask the right person. And 99% of the time, it's going to be the husband. Okay, so if you're, especially on a direct question that's extremely important, if you get one but you don't get the other, you have to get the other. Okay, so if you're talking to me and my wife, Donald, and my wife's all gung-ho about it, she's all excited, and I don't give you the answer you want, you look me in the eye, professionally, pleasantly, ask the question. Get the answer. Then when you get the answer, then you can move on. Okay? Use plain language. Okay? This is not like when you're asking a question, you're not presenting. You don't need to use big words. Okay? Ask very simple questions. Okay, I already said this, ask the right person. Okay, make sure you're asking the right person. You know, like I would always do that at the kitchen table. And this like some of the questions you're going to get confrontational. Okay, you know, that's just part of our business. You're not doing it on purpose, but this is a serious thing, right? You're here long enough, you're going to get the call I just got. You get that email, just say, it's with a heavy heart, somebody passed away. And you're going to rush to your computer and say, make sure they have that policy enforced and see how much they got. And nothing makes you feel better about what we do when you can call them back and you can return their call and say, hey, we're going to process this for you. Just want you to know everything's okay. We got the beneficiaries. We're going to send you a packet. Don't worry about it. We'll do as much as we can and we'll get this processed as quickly as possible. Nothing makes you feel better about it. But a lot of wrestling going before that. And before you get that call, there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of tug of war. There's a lot of question and answer. There's a lot of doing that stuff, right? So I'd say stuff like this all the time. Hey, you know, what would happen? So say I'm talking to my brother and his wife, and my brother's the typical guy that's a little irresponsible, a little arrogant, a little stubborn. The wife is a little bit more easygoing, understands it, this and that. Okay, say that my brother is the primary breadwinner. He makes significantly more than the wife, and so he feels in control and stuff like that. I'll say, hey, what would happen if you pass away? What do they say? Right? He wouldn't say that, but some people say that. Right?
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of family support.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have a wife, you have a child, you have a wife, you have 3 children, whatever it is, right? It says, so you would not stay in the house? No. And then right there, you're learning so much. He's answering for her.
Yeah.
She's not saying anything. She's already young, quiet, right? She can't talk. He said, oh, no. Yeah, we got it. You know, I have a plan for it. Yeah, that's bullshit. Right? And so he says this, and then he says, well, she could sell the house, and she can move with her sister, and we have a lot of options. Then I'll just look at her and I'll go, so is that what you want to do? And I'll just say it just like that. Is that what you want to do? If he passes away, you have your young children, you want to sell the house? You'd want to go live with your sister? All right. And then you could even ask, and you're doing it politely, right? You're doing it nicely. You're being quiet. You're being reserved. Does your sister have the financial means to? I mean, you have children. You start thinking about it, right? Just thought provoking. Then you ask them. Then you got to ask the right person.
Mhm.
Right? Yes.
I asked because this just happened this week on Facebook. Is in the Muslim community, and at that moment, I'm being quiet but direct, and at that moment, I'm starting to get the feeling like, okay, the more I dig through questions, I feel like the further away, for the right person I should be asking is getting from.
Yeah, that can happen. And I think in the Muslim community, and, you know, unfortunately, I think that's very accurate, okay? I mean, I'm not gonna label everybody, but, you know, if there is a generalization, yeah, I would think that, okay? So, I mean, you can't deal with ignorance, man. And at least if it gets out there, you know it and you're good, you feel good about it, right? At least you feel like, hey, I asked the questions, I did my job. Because always remember this, okay? This is something I always thought to myself when I went on appointment. And this is the only way to think, okay? Especially with insurance. Your job is to protect those kids. Always remember that. Your job is to protect those kids. That's all you care about. Protect those kids. Our job is to protect dependents, mainly children. You know what happens. You've seen this movie before, and you can see it on GoFundMe all the time. Okay? So they can say all this BS. It's not true. It's coming from a place of ignorance and idiocy. Okay? And it's not reality. Okay? Anybody that has any logic in their brain, if you're healthy, you buy insurance, you spend $50 to $100, and your family is set. There is no logical reason to not have insurance. None. There's none. There's none. You know, client at 50, at high 40s gets insurance, a $250,000 policy, pays $700 a year. $700 a year. And I believe, I don't want to botch this, I believe it's preferred. 3 years later gets Parkinson's and dementia. And 7 years later from diagnosis, less than 10 years after having the policy, passes away. $700 a year, $7,000, we give $250,000. The kids are grown. They don't need the money. It makes sense, always. We, just like the policy, we have the facts. When you put the facts in this, we pay out $3.8 million of claims every day. People are dying all the time. All the time, right? And I'm not, so they can say whatever. That's BS, man. Spend the $50, dude. We're groveling over $80 a month. $80. $3 a day, literally, to protect your kids and family, just in case something happens to you, right? And you know, look, I don't know I have no idea. I haven't talked to the client, but I can assume, because I know a little bit about this. You know, hey man, what happens when a family is hit with somebody that's mentally incapacitated for 4 or 5 years of dementia? You're in the hospital. I was looking at the Facebook, right? Because I was looking at it, right? And you know, it's sad. Like, you know, girls' graduation and their daughters and kids' graduation, all these things. They have pictures with the mom, and the dad is photoshopped in the picture because he couldn't be there. He was in the hospital.
Wow.
Think about that.
Wow.
Living in a hospital. Living. You have money to save. You need a caretaker. You need someone to be there. That's your dad. That's, you know, and some of you guys may have dealt with this before, okay? So I'm not trying to be insensitive about it. This is real life. $50 a month. Get out of here, dude. Like, what are we talking about? You have a freaking $800 a month car payment. You smoke. You do this. You have a case of beer, and you got all these empty liquor bottles up there. Pay the $50, man. Now, we can't say that, okay? But it's all BS. And I want you to have the mentality, right? Like, what are we offering you, man? You got the phone with the 3 cameras. You got the 11. You don't got any insurance. You got insurance on your phone. You got Apple Care and insurance. Right? Yeah, like you got a big TV. What am I talking about? I don't understand. Like, you don't want insurance for your kid? I know you say that you're insured. No, I'm not an insurance salesman. I'm a death claim deliverer. That's what I do. No, I sell the cheapest freaking product out there. I sell term insurance, man. That's gonna pay. You don't have it. You're young. And I'm not saying go write up young and single people. You don't freaking get it, dude. And my sister, whatever, 34 years old, had a stroke. You don't think you can get in uninsured? My sister was a gymnast, most valuable player gymnast, 4-year varsity athlete, goes to the gym. I mean, my sister is fit, stroke. Like, that's it. No insurance, you're done. You cannot get it. A couple months later, sister back in the hospital. Right? I mean, like, you think you know? You have no idea, man. So when we're saying this is not like, when they're saying that, I know, because sometimes they say it and they act really smart and they might use God and this and that. It's all bull. It's all bull. This is, hey, if something happens, you don't have money saved, you have young children, protect your kids, dude. And let's apply and get you some coverage. So don't ever get, doesn't mean that we can't put a gun to their head and make them buy insurance, okay? But I don't want you ever being thrown off.
Mhm.
Okay. So questioning skills, okay? And then also know what to do with the answer. The last point is knowing what to do with the answer, okay? Sometimes you confirm it, sometimes you log it for later, sometimes you write it down if it's very important, right? We're working on the data collection, probably be done by tomorrow. Sometimes you just don't ask a question and then just, you have to notate it because that shows that you're paying attention, all right? So if you're looking for better answers, you must start by improving your questioning skills, okay? Don't ask questions that belittle, demean, humiliate, or embarrass people. Okay? How do you have this then? Okay? Gotta be very careful. What's wrong with you? Why didn't you do that? Again, I'm being for real. Like, some of you guys just do it very reflexively. And your trainee might do it. They're stupid, right? They know the person, so they say, I bring Josh in, right? He goes in, he sees Hi, and Hi's married with kids. Are your kids always sick? The appointment's just bad right there. It's just bad. I'm just telling you, it's like, damn, they're fighting. They have a little lover's quarrel about, they know each other. Man, are your kids always sick? That's a bad question. It's an embarrassing question, man. I'm telling you, I've seen it so many times, man. Somebody comes in, they're friendly with me, I'm doing something, they want to say something, no, man. I'm like, all right, people get in their feelings, and I might be a bad appointment now, from now on. For what? It's a stupid question. It's embarrassing. Right? You got to be very careful, right? I mean, this is a process from front to back. You have to be good, and it's not eggshells. You just got to be smart. You got to be intelligent out there. Anything can throw this thing off, right? And is this sensitive information? Is it where people they do get in their feelings? They don't want to talk about it. If they wanted to talk about it, they wouldn't be in the situation and most people statistically are failing miserably. Okay, so you have to be good. And so part of that is that, right? Smart words, right? Write this down. There's smart words that you ask, right? I've talked about this a lot, okay? Sometimes you can ask a question, you have to throw a smart, are you certain? Okay? Are you confident? You know how this policy works? That's a smart word. Confidence, very, right? Because then it throws the question in there that creates that doubt. Oh, so you had, like Donald says to me, Peter says to me, I have a plan. Okay, great. Oh, who'd you have the plan with? And you say it's a company, it's a real company. Well, I met with American Express Financial Advisors. Okay, hey, did you make the appropriate changes? Appropriate changes. Did you make, because now we're going to find out. And I don't say it like, but it's a smart question. It's a smart word. And when are you 100%, right? That's a great way to act. Are you 100% positive? Nobody's 100% positive about anything. So when you're trying to create doubt, that all comes in through the questions that you ask. Properly, exactly. Are you exactly sure? Do you exactly know how this works, right? It's a smart, more finite way of communicating. Okay? There are also dumb words. Okay? You know, I'm just telling you one thing about people, okay? And I mean, I don't know, I mean, I know a dumb word when I hear it. I didn't make a list of a lot. But I know when people talk and they say, being honest, don't ever say that. That means that sometimes you're not honest.
Yeah.
Okay, and that means you're lying. That's like a proven fact. Like when people say honestly, they lie right after that. And I don't know, it's just like a normal thing. To be frank, let me be frank. That's like that means that you're not always, honest with people, right? Exactly. It's just not, don't say that. Okay, it's just a bad way to start a question or make a statement, all right? Okay. Sometimes, and I talked about this, series of questions can lead to confrontation. Minor, hopefully never major. Okay, so how do we diffuse with keeping our backbone? Okay, your client gets mad at you, Josh, which does happen, okay? And look, you're gonna, you're in the beginning, especially, I don't want to, like I said, this is the Friday meeting. This is not all sunshine and rainbows. At the beginning, you're gonna crack a lot of eggs, all right? I mean, that's just what it is, okay? That's probably one of my regrets is I wish I probably didn't offend as many people as I did coming up, but it's part of it, right? I mean, I can apologize. I mean, I was trying to find my way, man, all right? But when you get to a confrontation, okay, and it does happen, and it will, and it should happen, okay? Because you're gonna get somebody that's just spitting out ignorance, and some people, they try to bait you, okay? That's not, you don't want to get involved in those, but it does happen, man, all right? How do we diffuse? Therese, how would you diffuse? I know you've never been in a confrontation.
Don't like it.
Yeah.
I just listen. You tell me more about that. Or, that's probably not the first thing I say, but that's what comes to mind.
Okay, so you just want to kind of sit there, process it all, you hold hands and pray, right?
I would.
Let's pray. And then you say, God, forgive these people.
Oh my
Forgive them. I'm good. God, they have sinned.
Oh my
I've learned as a social worker, one, you never match school with theirs. You have to stay calm. You have to let them know, like it was, you have to let them know that you will. One of my favorite things is I tend to say, if it was okay that you sound kind of frustrated, listen for trigger words and try not to use those trigger words because that can keep them upset. And just pretty much just bring them back and just let them know that there's no pressure. This is not about you. Whatever it is that was said, it's whatever it is that's going on.
Okay, so, I mean, I guess in content, obviously that's a very open question I'm asking, right? We don't know what the context of the argument is or say it's gonna mostly happen about insurance, right? And when you get down to rubber hitting the road, they don't wanna commit, or they think they're smart, they see what you're trying to do. I see it. You think he's lit. Not today. We ain't writing no check today, right? Not me, maybe somebody else, but not me. So if I feel, right, if I feel like it's coming, I'll say, hey, look, the reason I'm asking all these questions, I just want to gain an understanding of your total financial picture and what you want. What I heard, and that's what you said, what I heard is if something happened, you wanted your family to be okay. And then from finding out you don't have any coverage and you feel underinsured. You said that this is important enough that you set aside money for it every month. But somewhere along the lines, I'm getting a little confused. Why don't you explain it to me? Tell me exactly, was I wrong? Do you not, something happened? Do you not want to? And then you just recap and let them say, because they can't say anything. They're digging their heels. And do you have to still talk about it? Yeah, you do, right? This is not like something where you can just let it go and then miraculously going to fix itself. It doesn't work like that, right? You're going to have to try to work around, get a check, do whatever it is, get them to apply, and then you have to try to calm it down, let them, I'm not saying it works, okay? But hey, the reason I'm asking, the reason I'm doing this, I didn't mean this, but this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is why I'm asking these questions, is because I'm just trying to get a game. Or say, for example, right, I've had a lot of people, Rod, right, that's why you gotta be very careful with debt. They get very tightened up when you talk about debt, because if they're embarrassed, they're shameful, they don't see anything, they feel hopeless, right? So I said, hey, Therese, the reason I'm asking questions, I don't mean to be, I don't want to say get too personal, because if I can see where you made a mistake in the past, then maybe we won't repeat it again, right? So because you don't want to talk about it, but you're not going to get out of it. I got to know, right? I have to know why you got into debt. I have to know how this happened. I got to know, right? In no way am I judging you. I'll say that. In no way am I judging you. But if I can find out a little bit more, maybe we can fix the issue, or we will never repeat it again. All right. When should you raise your voice? There might be sometimes. Right? There might be. I mean, I'm not. Most of the time, you do not raise your voice, right? But you have to know when to raise your voice and when not to raise your voice. And I'm not raising my voice like shouting, but you have a little bit more inflection in your voice, right? Or sometimes you say that. You're talking about something that gets you a little passionate, good to show a little bit, right? You gotta show some teeth a little bit, right? And I'm not saying you never direct it at somebody. You can direct it at the industry, you can direct it at this type of policy, you can direct it at something like that, you can direct it at helping families, and you can get excited about it, all right? That doesn't mean that you have to be extremely stoic all the time. But then you gotta know, especially when not to raise your voice. Okay? Anytime things are getting confrontational, you want to just subside a little bit. You want to be a silent killer, right? You don't want to, you're not going to back down, but you don't have to get loud. You're in control of your emotions. The other person may not be. It does happen, okay? So, like I said, we're not going to shy away from it, but you're calm, right? So there's different questioning styles. Okay? I think this is really important. Number one is the neutral questioning style, okay? When you're neutrally asking, you're controlled, or you have a relaxed demeanor, and you're unresponsive to the answers that you're getting. And that is a neutral questioning style. Two is the intimidator. Okay, you're intense. You put stress on the person answering. And the body language is in your face. Okay? The third type is the investigator. You're an examiner. You search for details. You leave no stone unturned. That's your attitude. 4, you're an interviewer. The interviewer is an opinion taker. Uses lots of open questions to draw people out. Okay, we'll talk about open questions in a minute. 5, the interrogator. That's you versus them. and puts them on total defense. Six, the arguer. You're always argumentative through questions. Everybody look at Josh. Literally everybody. Seven, the supremacist questioner. This line of questioning makes the other person feel stupid. Okay, so 1, neutral, 2, intimidator, 3, investigator, 4, interviewer, 5, interrogator, 6, arguer, 7, supremacist questioner. Okay, with the exception of 1 or 2, I think you should be all of them at some point in time. Okay. I think everybody has their own personality style. All right. And if you think about this, right, you see that this is crossing the lines between primeric and real life. Right? You ever meet somebody that just like this, always investigating? I know Dante. I think he got that award.
Yeah.
Very accurate.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Dante, come on, man. I'm just asking, why are you typing on your iPad? Hey, I'm just asking. Don't worry about the recording. Where were you? Right? That's cool. I love it. Right? But you got to see, right? Because certain people are not going to respond the way you're asking questions, right? So I think overall you should be very neutral. Okay? Overall, you should be very neutral. When they answer, you don't want, the responses to affect you, right? Because a lot of times you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're saying. Somebody says something and, sometimes it's good to get excited. Sometimes it's not good to get excited. Sometimes you just got to let people talk and get the information. There's a lot of questions, a lot of dialogue between the client, right? The intimidator, sometimes it's good to be a little intense. I'm not saying I do it a lot. I do it a lot, but I'm saying I don't do it a lot at the kitchen table, right? But sometimes it is good to, hey, no, look, let's find out right now, right? I'm here, your kids are in the other room, we're gonna talk about it, right? You don't have protection. And before I walk out, which I'm about to do, right? I know where this appointment goes and I'm good with it. Let's just talk about it. Let's talk about your kids one more time. Let's talk about your budget one more time. And it's good to put the pressure on somebody. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Investigator, right? Look, if you're looking at a policy, you need to be an investigator. You need to find out every detail. Who sold it to you? What did they say? Why did they sell it to you? What's in the policy? And you read every page. Then you're an investigator. You look at a 401k, say, how'd you get this? Was it this company? Did they switch in the way, in the tone that you're asking, Joel, you're investigating. You're at the scene of a crime. You are going to find the culprit. The different tone of question. That I turn that on when I'm looking at policies and I'm looking at statements and I'm looking at this because they don't know how they got there. So I got to find out. And it might be them. Oh yeah, he told me this. Oh shoot. And then, right? I'm learning. I'm investigating. There is definitely an appropriate time to investigate. Okay. If I'm ever looking at documents financially, that's where I do that. Interviewer. I think you got to be that a lot too, right? You're just an opinion taker. You let them talk. You're listening. You're not getting up and down. Interrogator, I don't think you really want to get there too much, because if it's ever tense, it's you versus them. It's usually just a very bad outcome, and you're not going to get good, relevant information, and you're not going to get a good result. Arguer, okay? Never want to argue. There's no point in arguing. You have started to argue. Okay. And look, I know you may hear people and, people talk like, I know some people think it's like, oh, I love to argue. Look, arguing is the stupidest, most draining, negative energy ever in the world. Okay. And I just want you guys to understand this. If you want to be a pleasant person with people around you, you don't want to argue all the time. Okay. It's going to frustrate you, put you in a draining mood, and you're going to naturally, subconsciously, and constantly repel people. All right? In our business, there is no benefit of argument, ever. ever. All right? Supremacist question. Never, this is not good either. You know, I hate when people do that, right? And they don't really do it to me as much, but I see people do it to other people where they ask questions literally trying to throw their knowledge weight around, okay? That does not work. It just makes people feel stupid and it makes you look like a jerk. All right, so do not do that. Body language and hand gestures. You read Maxwell, okay? How much of communication is words? Write it down. Thanks for telling me. 7%. Okay? So think about that. 93% of your communication is non-verbal, is not actually the words that you're saying. Right? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? So one is the act, one is why did you do that? Right? Like, why did you do that? Right? It means a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so you got to understand a lot of your communication is not actually what you're saying. It's how you say it. It's how fast you say it. It's a lot of other things, right? So one, we already talked about eye contact, right? We said what? Eye contact's not scary. You're not scared of people. Don't make awkward eye contact. All right. 2, sit up. Okay, when you talk to people, always sit up. Okay, never slouch over. Right? You should make a habit of that. Right? Never lean back. You know, just don't do it. It's unprofessional. You look disengaged. It's sloppy. All right. 3. Okay. I hope you guys don't do what you're doing here at the kitchen table. All right. I mean that. Like, no jiggling, no shaking, no fidgeting, no rocking. You know, some of you guys, you can't even control your mouth. Trying to do an appointment. I'm sure you've done it before. Jeez, man. Sit still, dude.
I have a hard time sitting still.
Sit still. Sit still. Practice. Okay. Sit still. I'm hyperactive, man. You don't think I hate sitting still. Okay? Like, and here's the thing, right? You know, if you feel you can't change yourself or control yourself, you're helpless, right? You're not helpless. I hate sitting still. I hate it. I always move around. I always walk around. I always, you know, but I think if I move and I shake, like, what is that feeding to them? What is it? No, exactly. Whatever. So many range of emotions. It's terrible. Do not do it. Okay, when I said don't lean back, okay, you want to sit, but you want to lean a little forward, okay, especially when you're asking a question of any importance, because that says I'm interested in the answer. I want to hear you. You know, people do that all the time. They ask me a question just to ask it. They don't even pay attention to what I'm going to say. They don't even pay attention. I'm like, why'd you ask me that? You don't care. You're not paying attention. It's stupid. Relaxed face. Let's see it from everybody. Okay? You don't even have to smile. Just have a relaxed smile. I tried, Jimmy Jim, to smile a little bit because I know my relaxed face is a little mean. Right? So I'll have a little smile. But, you know, like, right? I want to, you know. Do you? So protecting you? Relax, man. Relax. You know what? Where I get this is salespeople try to sell me stuff. That's why I'm learning all this this. Oh, man. You suck. You're terrible, man. I would buy this product, but geez, get your game up, man. Come on. Relax, just relax as you're asking the question. Don't get tense, don't frown, don't smile too hard. You know, look, I'll be honest with you, okay? I don't like people always smiling. It just bothers me. Like, I don't know, I will punch you in the face. All the time? No, right?
Oh, man.
You seen that Kevin Hart, right? You seen that Kevin Hart where he talks about it? I wouldn't be one of those girls happy all the time. Man, I got fired today. Shut up. Right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Hey, you're home. I got fired today. Shut up. You know? That's what I am. Okay, so I just like at the table, just relax a little bit. Okay, just relax a little. All right. Breathe normally, right? Like you gotta breathe normally.
Oh my God.
And you can't start breathing harder, breathing, you know. Remember to breathe, that's important.
Remember to breathe.
Okay. Gotta breathe normally. Right? You gotta practice these things. I know this is gonna sound really funny, and I know a lot of you guys do not do this. We used to have an F&A presentation. Ask my mom. Whenever you see my mom, okay, if you ever see her, you know, for some people, she'll be at the trip or I'm taking her to the farm. Ask her. I practice in front of my mirror all the time. I would just practice to see if I could learn the presentation. I had the words down, and I would practice in front of the mirror. I would just go through it. I would go through the slides. I'd practice. You know, we don't do it now, right? Every Sunday, we remember for 2 hours, right? We would go through and I'd make somebody come up and do the presentation. I'm like, all right, you do it. And they do the whole thing. And I would just
criticize every single word, every movement, every action, everything.
Everything. Like, hey, no, don't say this, don't say that, don't do this, don't do that. We did this for years, right? So I don't do that now, right? You could maybe do it on a Zoom with a couple of people, but you should practice at least in front of the mirror. See how you look. You can record yourself on a phone, right? It might be better than posting your life on social media. That's not true, right? Right? I mean it. Like I'm telling you what we did. I'm not hyping it. I'm not lying about it. I practiced in front of the mirror because I wanted to get really good, and I wanted to be good in front of the kitchen table, right? I'm not good. I wanted to be great, so it requires practice. Okay. So what else? What else do we do? What else? What's body language? Okay. Some of you guys are very oblivious to your body language. Okay, so you can use your arms, right? My trainer was an arms talker, and you remember Mark? I mean, he was the best. He always did. And he'd always do that. And like it's coming, it's coming. We laugh about it, and I don't know what it was, and it was always just like we think about it's funny, right? Josh, terrible hand stomper. It's the worst. You're right. Like awkward movements, snappy question. And I know you do it at the kitchen table too, right? So if you see, I see a right here. I can imagine. I'll ask some people. I can imagine. Morgan, is this true? Yes. See. Okay. So look, if you don't know and you're subconsciously always using your hands, don't use them. Just don't. Okay. Just because some people they flail. They flail a lot. They always want to say things. They make grandiose gestures and stuff like that. Usually it's inappropriate. Okay. So never want to be like this. Okay. And then if you do, I'll use 1, 2, 3. I use 0. I use that a lot, and I do move my hands, right? Because I feel like, because I have at the kitchen table at least, I have a little bit more of a quiet demeanor. I like to use my hands, and I definitely will say things like this, where I'll say things, and I'll get a big sign where I let them know this is important. Okay. But I've seen funny stuff, okay, when people present. I have seen hilarious stuff when I ask people to present, okay? Like, you know, I'll have somebody, I've said, they use the prayer, right? Therese, you probably do this. I'm like, oh, you know, they'll present and they're like in prayer. And I'm like, right? I guess you could do that if it was appropriate as a hint, like, you know, something like, but usually it's not. Okay? I've seen people, like I said, Mark kind of gets into your personal space a little bit when he talks with his hands. I didn't think that was very appropriate. I thought it was funny, and all the trainees, we would kind of laugh about it, okay? And look, when we say this, it's funny. It is funny, okay? I don't want you to think that it's not. I mean, people are still people. I'm not saying you have to do exactly what I do, but I think you may want to rein it in, or you could look to change a little bit, right? Never want to be crossed arms, right? And here's another thing that people do a lot. Good point.
Yeah.
I've even had clients, okay, because I used to point, okay? I think they literally thought I had a gun in my hand. Like I was like, oh, shit. They're like this. You know, don't do that, okay? That is not a good thing to do, right? If you're always pointing at people, like, who are you pointing at? Like, you know, you can bite that finger off. It's not right. So you know, if you're always pointing, that's you know. So I use kind of like my hands like this, or I'll calm people, you know. But and most of the time I do it, I'm up here. I really don't do it a lot at the kitchen table. I'll point to my stuff. And I'll say, hey, here's, you can look at this, and you know, I'll use this as a pointer, so they can follow me on the presentation. I'm not really a big hands guy. That's just me personally. Okay, so I think you should probably keep it a little bit toned down. All right. All right. I'll end with this. All right. So there are direct questions. All right. You know what those are. All right. There are indirect questions. Could you explain? Could you? Right? Would you? That's an indirect. That comes from Tom Hopkins. There are open questions. What would happen? Right? There are closed questions where you're looking for a finite answer. When did you buy this? Why is not a closed question, right? That's an open question. How much does this cost? You know, how much are you paying per month? That's a closed question. There's filtering questions, okay? I love filtering questions. Hey, rank your top two. It's a great question, right? Hey, which one of these could we do without? You know, sometimes if I'm going on a carryback, I say, hey, so here's what I have for you, Josh. You want the will, right? You'd like to get a will in place. You want to start retirement. You have no okay. What's the most important? Great question. What's the most important? What do you think needs the most immediate need? Just ask them. It's a great filtering question. What's the most immediate? Just ask them. Right? So, like, instead, Therese, you're going to tell them, right? That's where our natural, let's tell them insurance is the most important. No, just ask them, hey, which do you feel is the most immediate? Then they might say it. Then if they don't give you the right answer, say why you say that. Then when they try to defend it, they can't say it, right? You did that through questions. There's double direct questions or compound questions. That's a great one, okay? Compound questions and double direct questions are where you get extra clarity. Okay, I just want to be sure what you're saying is, and then it's like, okay, it elevates the importance of the question, and they got to really be serious about it. So I just want to make sure I'm hearing this properly. What you're saying is, you just want to focus on the investments, and you don't want any protection at all. Yeah, say it. They're saying it, but no, I didn't say that. That's what you said. Let's be clear. Oh, so you do want insurance, and you're not going to do it like I'm even doing it right now. This is all in your mind, right? Okay, so you're not saying okay. Oh, okay. So let me just make sense of this. I just want to be clear. You do want to retire, but you can't put money away right now. Yeah, okay. When could you start? 6 months. What will be different in 6 months? You get what I'm saying? They're nothing, and then they can't say anything. Nothing. Oh, you just want me to leave right now, right? That's okay. Hey, we want people to like us, we want people to trust us, we want people to respect us, okay? But when we're doing business, it ain't a popularity contest. You're protecting those kids, you're training your recruit, you're doing your job. And they're saying it. Okay, they're saying it. You're just getting it. You're investigating, you're applying the right pressure at the certain points, and you're getting clarity. Always remember, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. And you're not going to do it like the way I'm doing it at the front of the room, okay? There's hypothetical questions, right? Those are great. This could be on the recruiting. What would happen if you did this? If you didn't have a job, what would you do? You know, all this stuff. If you had no debt, would you be able to save more? If you had this protection in place, would you feel good about this? Right, whatever it is. There are provocative questions. Those are questions that get people to think, right? There are reflective questions where you ask somebody what they did in the past, right? Oh, hey, man, you got $100,000 shift. How'd you do that? Let them hear. And I saved every single one. It just came out of my paycheck. Oh, okay. So you like that? The automatic draft works for you? Okay, right? And they're reflecting on how they've had success before. Leading questions, right? What's the key? How do you lead somebody? Huh? Wouldn't you agree? Isn't it? Right? It's nice outside, isn't it? That's a leading question, right? The sun is bright today, isn't it? Right? You made a statement and then you led them with isn't it? Or wouldn't you agree? You know, where you already made your statement and then you just ended it with a question. And then there's clarifying questions where you're just trying to clarify exactly what you heard. And this is an art, right? I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing it 16 years, asking questions, trying to refine my skills at the kitchen table. Hundreds and hundreds of conversations with people. I am nowhere near a master, okay? And so when I think about these things and I read these things and I think about where, like I said, sometimes my questions and where I go off with them, it takes a lot of work. All right, you got to practice, you got to review your notes. Obviously, the Tom Hopkins stuff is the best. You can probably download all the information now, audio, SoundCloud, whatever it is, but just to get in the habit of questions, because if you're constantly making statements or you're asking the wrong question or irrelevant question, or you're approaching the question the wrong way, you're going to miss sales, man. You want to be a pro. Because if they have extra money, you have any sort of relationship from a referral or a training appointment or a trainee there with you, and they love their family, you should do business. Always. Okay? Are you going to make 100% of the time? No, you're not. You're not going to hit everything. You should feel that confident that if I go in and they love their family, they have extra money, and there's no condition, meaning they're not uninsurable, I'm going to do business. That's the type of business that you're in. All right, and then we're going to clean it up, man. We're going to run a good business here. So, like I said, Alex has these folders. Tomorrow, 9:30. We have op tomorrow. Dress sharp. Okay, make sure your guests dress sharp. All right, I'm gonna, because we're running out of room in our op meeting, I'm gonna start kicking people out if they don't dress appropriately. Okay. People dress in sweats and stuff like that. It's just, one bad person can ruin the entire group, all right? And I noticed, right, in my thread, there are a lot of meetings on Tuesday for people, Wednesday for second look. That $50 IBA is done Monday, okay? So the meeting on Tuesday with them as opposed to Monday cost them $50, all right? And while it's not the end of the world, it's a big deal, right? So we should get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday should be our biggest recruiting days of the year. All right. And then you guys can get all your directs in there, have the conversations, bring it up. Hey, look, I know we had a meeting scheduled on Tuesday, which is probably we can get a Zoom or do something because I'd like to get you in by Sunday just because, not every year, but this year for the beginning of the year, our licensing fee, the class is discounted by $50, right? I don't know if that makes a big difference for you, but, you know, I'd rather pay less. All right? All right, Alex, you have the folders? All
They're
right,
in it already.
all right, team marketing, 1, 2, 3, help clean up the room.